So I believe the Jimmy Butler trade is going to happen. I believe it's going to include Brandon Ingram, but Jimmy Butler obviously will not be going to New Orleans. And this is full speculation, but it would make sense because it seems like Miami is not trying to go in full rebuild mode. It seems like they want to get a good player in return for Jimmy Butler, and Brandon Ingram is about as good as you're going to get if you're Miami. And some of you guys might even disagree with that. Some of you might say Bradley Beal is better than Brandon Ingram. But even if you believe that, Bradley Beal is going to be making $50 million next year. He has a no trade clause. Brandon Ingram is younger, fits the timeline of Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, and you might be able to get him on an affordable deal going forward. Who knows? Another reason this is a real possibility is because Houston is one of the only good teams in the NBA that can take back more money than they give out. At least right now before the Jalen Green and Şengün extensions kick in. So in this hypothetical, they wouldn't have to get up to the $48 million for Jimmy Butler. They would just need to get to the $36 million of Brandon Ingram, which they can easily do without giving up one of their young assets. And in this scenario, it's not like you have to trade young assets because you are essentially getting Jimmy Butler for the price of Brandon Ingram. So the basis of it, and as always, you guys can quibble with the picks, how many picks, protected, all that. You guys can do all that if you want to do that. But the basis of it would be the Rockets get Jimmy Butler. That's all they get. The Pelicans get Dillon Brooks, Steven Adams, and Aaron Holiday. Probably 2 first-round picks, maybe 1 first-round pick and a bunch of seconds. And the Heat get Brandon Ingram and Javonte Green. Now, maybe say the Heat should get more, and I don't think the Heat are in a desperate position. You know, they're kind of showing it. If Jimmy Butler wants to do this, we can ride it out. But they are in a position where they might lose this season. So they might be a little bit in a hurry to salvage this season. Where if this were the offseason, maybe they'd be more willing to play it out. Maybe they say, we need BI and a first. We need BI and 3 seconds. But in this moment right now, where they might be more focused on being a good team this year, they might be more willing to just do it for Brandon Ingram at this point. Maybe not though. The Pelicans are in a desperate situation because if they can't get off of BI's deal, they're going to lose him for nothing. And if you're the Pelicans and you can wash your hands of the Brandon Ingram situation with maybe a couple first, maybe a first and 3 seconds, I don't know. But you guys got to look at it and say, how many teams would theoretically Brandon Ingram fit on? And none of them are calling for Brandon Ingram. He's been on the market for almost a full year at this point, in my opinion. I think they've been looking at Brandon Ingram trades, have not pulled the trigger, and now we are here. So if you can walk away from this by getting a first-round pick in 3 seconds, that might be something you have to do, or just let him walk. For the Heat, are you going to keep Jimmy Butler on your team, actively sabotage your team? Because it doesn't seem like that's what they want to do. It seems like the Heat want to win right now, and if that is their goal, I don't see them getting a better outcome than getting a Brandon Ingram. And if I was running Miami, I would not be in the mode of we have to compete right now. We have to not look terrible as a team. But that's the mode they are in, right? If they weren't in that mode, I wouldn't be so sure. I'm not sure this is going to happen, but I wouldn't even be thinking of it as a realistic possibility because I would be thinking, okay, they're going to try to get as many picks as possible from Houston, or they're going to try to get as many picks as possible from Memphis or whoever. But I don't think that is really that appealing to Pat Riley at this point. I don't think getting 3 firsts from Memphis is more appealing than getting a young, very good player in Brandon Ingram. It seems like they just want to be a good team. And if you're the Pelicans, Steven Adams is expiring, Aaron Holiday is expiring, and you end up stuck with 2 more years of Dillon Brooks at $20 million a year. But also for the Pelicans, that deal is another trade asset, not the player, even though Dillon Brooks is a pretty good player in my opinion, but that salary is another asset to potentially do another move. And for the Pelicans, that's not this big deal. It's not the huge commitment. And it would probably be pretty easy to move that deal next year as contending teams might want a Dillon Brooks. Like the Nets just got 3 second-round picks for Dorian Finney-Smith. Maybe you make this deal and you end up getting 3 second-round picks next year for a Dillon Brooks. And I know that's extremely underwhelming for a Pelicans fan, but I think it's going to have to be a deal like that. And another reason, Brandon Ingram and Bam Adebayo are apparently good friends. I don't know if the Heat are still prioritizing Bam like that. I guess they would have to be if they're still trying to win right now. Things change, right? These tweets are majority from before Bam was even in the NBA. You know, maybe it was a they're from the same area, you know, kind of look up to a guy, and who knows if they're actually friends. But it wouldn't hurt bringing in someone that's going to get along with one of your best players. Now, a core of Brandon Ingram, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo does not sound appealing. But Pat Riley refuses to tank, and if he's not going to tank, if he's still trying to be a relevant, competent team, what are they going to get for Jimmy Butler that would be a better option than getting Brandon Ingram? Like, I don't see it. And the fit of Brandon Ingram with Tyler Hero would be similar to the fit of Brandon Ingram with CJ McCollum. And I know there's been a lot of discussion about the Pelicans as this failure, because they have been. But when Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum played together, they had a record of 65 and 47. And I would guess at least half of those games came without Zion. Actually, why not just look that up? So I said they were 65 and 47 when Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum played together. Those games without Zion, they were 31 and 25. So they went from a 58 win percentage with Zion to a 55 win percentage without Zion. And considering the rest of the team that's been around those guys, like a rookie Herb Jones, rookie Trey Murphy that first year, those guys got better. Obviously, Jose Alvarado, Najee Marshall, all solid guys, but not guys you would expect Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum to be able to win with consistently. And they were 6 games above 500 when Brandon Ingram and CJ played without Zion. So I'm just saying that to say the fit of Brandon Ingram with Tyler Hero would be a good fit in my opinion. Obviously, you add Bam to that, you add Hawkes and Jovic. It wouldn't be a bad team, but I personally wouldn't be feeling good about giving Brandon Ingram, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero over $30 million each. That's kind of crazy to me. But we also have to think about this organization and what they routinely do. Think about Jimmy Butler before he got to Miami. No, Brandon Ingram is not on that level. But if you're Miami, you're probably thinking, this guy, even though he's already, 28 years old, 27 years old, just turned 27 in September. This guy was the number 2 overall pick. Clearly has a ton of talent. If you're Miami and you have Eric Spoelstra, you might be thinking, we can absolutely get the best out of Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram in Miami is going to be better than Brandon Ingram has ever been. The same way Jimmy Butler in Miami was better than Jimmy Butler had ever been. Again, I'm not saying I believe in that, but if you are the Heat and think about your history, you might truly believe that you're trading for an all-star player that is just now hitting the prime of his career, right? Just turned 27. And if there is a choice between Bradley Beal and Brandon Ingram, I just don't see, even if you believe Bradley Beal is better, financially speaking, I just don't see how you choose Bradley Beal. So I really believe that Brandon Ingram is the guy they're looking at. The question is, how do they facilitate with a third team, right? And that's another reason I don't think it's going to be Phoenix, because Phoenix can't really operate in a 3-team deal, right? Because maybe they would take Bradley Beal, but also they're going to need other assets. I don't know how Phoenix gets other assets to, incorporate in a 3-team deal. So I just don't believe it's going to be Phoenix. We could wake up tomorrow and he's on Phoenix, but I just don't see it. When we look at what they want and their timeline, the age of Bam, the age of Tyler Hero, Brandon Ingram slots in perfectly with that. And you build upon that going forward. You move Terry Rozier in the summer. Maybe you finally move Duncan Robinson. I don't know. Duncan Robinson would be good to have, but maybe that's something you can move. Give Khalil Ware more minutes, give Hawkes, give Jovic minutes, and you might actually have something there. And this team would be not young, but young enough, right? Where 2 years from now, Brandon Ingram's only going to be 29. Bam's only going to be 29. Tyler's only going to be 26. So in 2 years, if those guys are still there, all in their prime, and you have Khalil Ware emerging as a legitimate starting stretch 5 center. If Jovic develops into an elite 3-point shooter, and who knows what Jaime Hawkes can develop into, all of a sudden you might be building with a little bit here, and I'm talking myself into it. If you're not going to blow it up, if you're not going to bottom out, which we know Pat Riley's not going to do, I don't know. I kind of like it. So I think Brandon Ingram is going to end up in Miami. Only time will tell. This video might not even be relevant by the time I post it. Maybe you already know what happened, but I think he's going to Miami. I think Jimmy Butler is more than likely going to end up in Houston, unless there's another team I'm not thinking about. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. I'm out. Peace.